All right, welcome to the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Excited to be able to spend time with you again and discuss some important things for you in your business. Today we're going to be talking about how you can go from an idea to income, or how you can turn your knowledge into a signature program. And this is something that I see a lot of times with a lot of people who want to start a knowledge-based business or an expert business where they take their knowledge and expertise and they get paid for it. And there's a number of different ways, obviously, that you can go with that. You can be a speaker, you can be a coach, you can be a trainer, you can be create digital content. You could be an author. You could do all these different things if you want, all these different avenues. And I see people chasing a lot of different ideas, especially when they're first getting started out. You know, they'll talk to somebody and they'll hear somebody talk and they'll say, oh, writing a book, that's what I need to do. And they'll chase that shiny object for a while. And then they'll go, oh, but no, I should have a course because that could create passive income. And they'll chase that shiny object for a while. Oh, but, I would love to work directly with people. Then I'll try coaching for a while. And essentially what they do is they scatter their efforts. Or maybe they think, maybe if I made some little mini products, some like cheap $20 to $50, things, that I could just start selling those. And I could create a little mini course or a little mini training or a guide or an ebook and things like that. And you can start doing those things and start building up some, sales, doing all that. And so they tend to go in a lot of different directions. They tend to do this in a way that, you're going to go in this direction and that direction. You're going to try this, I'm going to try that. And they end up creating a lot of things. They end up putting a lot of different products out there, and they never really seem to gain a lot of traction, and they never really seem to be able to go full time because they're just scattered. They're going in all these different directions. They're doing all these different things, and they've never found the one thing that got them launched off the ground and really taken off. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. The value of having what we call a signature program. Now, it's not bad to have all these other things. It's not bad to have ebooks that you can sell. It's not bad to have mini courses that you can sell and all those things. But all of those things should be the peripheral products to your signature core offer, whatever that may be. Now, a signature core offer does not need to be like a high-end coaching program where you coach people and it's several $1,000s. It doesn't have to be that. Your signature offer can be a course. Your signature offer can be doing things as a speaker. But there needs to be that one thing that you're really, really known for, the one thing that you're really good at, the one thing that you are really, this is the thing. If I need help in this area, this is the main thing you go to. Plus, they also have a course that you can do. Plus, they also have this that you can do. But they're really known for this. This is the main thing that you do. It's what you're really good at. In our last business, it was our publishing program. We had a publishing program where we helped authors take their idea and turn them into published books so they could become a published author. And it was great for them. And it worked out really, really well. And the other products that we had all sorts of courses, life courses, life coaching type courses. We had other little products, other masterminds, other things, but the core program was always the publishing program. That was the main thing. And then while they were there, people joined other programs. They brought other courses. They did other things. They went to our conferences. All of those things were supplemental products that we sold, but everything was built off the core. Everything was built off the main thing that was the lifeblood of the business. That was how we generated customers. That was what we were known for. That was our area of expertise. And as a result, it was the foundation upon which everything else was built. And the thing is, once you get a signature program established, you end up with a foundation that you now have cash flow. You now have income. You can now do this in such a way that all these other things you now have resources for. You have the ability to build all these other things out. You can hire somebody to help you build out a course. You can bring in additional talent and resources to do all these other things to get all these other programs and products out for you. Because the signature program is the lifeblood and the foundation for everything else that gets built. Now, you might be thinking, well, how do I do this? What should I do? What is the thing that I should be building on? What is my signature offer? What is the thing that I should be standing on as my foundation? And that's a great question. So what I want you to think of is what is it that you are most known for when you work with your clients? What is the thing that you say when people come to me for this, and I am really good at getting them from where they are to where they want to be. I'm really good at showing people how to go from A to B, from the today to the destination that they want. I'm good at that. I can get people there. I can get people to their objectives, help them solve the problem that they have, help them get to where it is that they want to go. That is the thing usually that becomes your signature program. It's the thing that you're known for. It's the thing that people keep coming to you and asking you for help with. What is it? What is the thing that they keep saying? Yeah, go here. Go. If you need help, go ask David this. If you need help, David's your guy for that topic right there. And just think about that and be honest and just start asking yourself that question. What is it that people are always coming to me for help with? Because the odds are they see it before you do. They figured it out before you even figured it out. They're looking at it going, man, this person is so good at this. If I need help, I'm going to them because they're amazing. And as a result, they know. A lot of times you're the one who's sitting there going, well, I don't know if I want to do this. I want to do that. No, your audience will usually tell you. Your audience will usually say, hey, you're amazing at this. And I always know that if I need help in this area, you're the person I want to help me. You're the person who's really, really good at it. And because you just have that natural ability. You have the natural skill to be able to do it. It flows out of you very naturally and smoothly. It's a very, very easy and smooth thing that happens all the time. And it's just, something that is a natural fit for you. And what that does is it becomes the thing that you kind of build the foundation on. For me, I really love and I'm really good at helping people build businesses. Building a business online, with taking their ideas, turning them into coaching programs, turning them into courses, turning them into speaking opportunities, turning them into training, opportunities, all of those things. I'm really good at that. That's the thing that people always came to me. I need help building a business? Well, go talk to David. I need help figuring out how to do my marketing. Go talk to David. That was what I became known for. That was the thing that everybody knew that I was an expert at. So that became my signature offer. And it's what everything else is built around. That is the core offer. And then all the other things that we do, offering a course about, how to create book funnels, offering some ebooks, offering some mini courses. All of that is built around the core offer of Design, Launch, Grow. Everything that we have is built off that foundation. That is the core offer. That is the main thing that we do. That is the main line of building the business. And it's how we function, how we build, how we grow, how we do things, because that's the signature offer. That's the main thing that we're known for. Now, when you're thinking about that, you need to think about not just some of the little things that you do. You need to think about the core transformation that you're offering for this individual. What is it? Like, I take people from a dream of what they want to build to a successful business. That's the transformation that I help people get to. I take them from an idea. I would love to, I have a lot of experience doing this. I'm really good at it. I have talent and skill and ability in that. And I would love to be able to coach people on this. I would love to be able to train people on this. Okay, great. And so we build from there, and I help people go from that idea and actually build a functional, successful business out of it so that they can have income, so they can do what they love to do. That's the transformation that I help people achieve. So once I know that's the thing that I love to do, that's the thing that I'm known for, how do I build a signature offer around that? Well, what you have to do is you have to sit down and you have to start going through this process whereby you go, okay, I need to create a framework. And for me, the very initial level of framework for design, launch, grow is in the title of the business: design, launch, grow. Because the very first thing you need to do in your business is you need to design it. Like, what am I building? Anytime you're going to build anything, you have to design it. What is this thing that I'm building, constructing? What do I want my business to be? Do I want to be a speaker? Do I want to be a coach? Do I want to be a course creator? Do I want to be a trainer? What do I want my business to look like? And everyone's unique. Everyone's different. There is no right answer. It's just an answer of what fits you, what meets your needs, what meets the goals that you have, the dreams that you have, the things that you want to achieve. When you get that nailed down, then you have to launch your business. Okay, it's now that I got things figured out, I got some of the pieces put together, I got things together, I kind of know what I want to do, I kind of know what I want to offer people. Now I got to get out there and I got to launch this thing, and I got to start getting clients, and I got to start getting some people to actually become customers. And then once I start getting that going, and I get some of the customers starting to say yes, and I got some people that I'm starting to work with, I need to grow my business so I can now do this full time, so I can generate a better income, so that I can be really successful at this. So these are all things that become incredibly important in this process. They all become very fundamental. Those are 3 simple steps. And people come and they go, oh, yeah, I get it. I see exactly. You're designing, launching, growing. It's all right in the name. It says exactly right there. That's the name of the business. And then within each one of those 3 steps, we break it down into much smaller steps. So for you, you need to do a similar type of exercise. You need to think about your client. And the first thing, how you do this is the first thing you need to do is you need to think about, where is my typical client today? What are their dreams? What do they want to achieve? What is it that they want to do? What are the problems and the obstacles and the challenges that they're facing? What's wrong? What's going on that, they're struggling with? Why can't they achieve their dream today? What is standing in their way? What is the obstacle? Because, if they had their dream achieved, they wouldn't need you. They'd already be there. They'd already have the goal, and somebody explained it to me this way. It's a very simple way of understanding it, but I think it's also a very effective way of understanding it. Number one is you are standing on this side of a riverbank. You're standing on the left side of the riverbank, and you want to get to the right side of the riverbank. And you're like, on the right side of the riverbank is where I want to go. There's a town over there. That's where my family is. That's where my friends are. I need to get to the other side of the river. But there's no bridge. There's no way of getting across the river. So you're standing there going, how am I going to get there? And you look at the river, and there's crocodiles in the river. So I don't want to just go swimming in it, because that's dangerous. There's dangers in this river. I don't want to cross the river. It's not safe just to try and swim it or walk across. I mean, this is not going to be a good idea. So how am I have a problem. This is where I am, and the other side of the riverbank is where I want to be. So how do I get there? Well, along comes this person with a little boat and says, hey, can I help you? He goes, yeah. And you go, yeah, I need to get to the other side of the riverbank. I need to get to that side. He goes, I can do that for you. He says, for $20, I'll take you from here to over there. And you go, great. This is amazing. This solves my problem. For just $20, I can get from where I am to where I want to be. And then I can get on the other side of the river. I can go to the town and be with my family and friends. Fantastic. But what that individual did is he just provided a solution for your problem. He took you from where you were to where you wanted to be. And now that's a very simplistic example of what we're talking about here, but I think it really illustrates the point. The same thing needs to apply to you in what you do. You need to look at your audience. You need to look at them and say, okay, I need to describe them where they are today. What are they struggling with? What are their problems? What are the things that are difficult for them? What are their dreams, their goals? What are their obstacles? And you need to describe that so you understand their situation well. So you can look at them and say, oh, I get it. This is This is really what they need. These are their fears. These are their challenges. These are the things that they see as obstacles. Because sometimes, let's be honest, some of the things we see as obstacles really aren't the obstacle. We're afraid of things that really aren't the problem. And we let those things stop us from moving forward. So you need to understand your current prospect well. You need to understand where they're at, what they're thinking, what's the deal with their current situation. Why are they struggling? Why are they not on the other side of the riverbank? Why are they still stuck where they are? What's keeping them from where they want to be? And so you get there. So you define the beginning point very clearly. And sometimes you just have to spend time talking to people and just ask them questions. You're like, what is it? So would you like to be able to start your own business? And they say, oh, that would be amazing. That's exactly what I want. Exactly what I would love to do. This would be so wonderful. Well, okay. Well, why haven't you done it? And then they start telling you all their reasons, their fears, their uncertainties. Maybe they just don't know how to build a business. Maybe they don't know how to do these things. And so they start describing all these things that are keeping them from getting to where they want to be. Okay, now you have a really good picture of where they are today. And then you start asking, well, what would it look like if you did have a successful business? What do you imagine your life would look like if you made it to the other side of the river? What would things be? And they'll start describing those things for you. And they'll start telling, oh, it'd be amazing. I get to go over there. I get to be with my family and friends. Or I get to have a business that I don't have to work at this job that I don't like anymore. I could work for myself. I could do work that I love. I can help people. I can just be excited to go to work every day instead of dreading it. All of those things, like, okay, so now what we've done in this process, we've defined the beginning point and the end point. Those are the first two pieces that have to be defined and clarified and really nailed down tight for you to develop a signature program. You need to know the start point and the end point. You get those clarified first, because it's like anytime you want to start out on a journey. Think about it this way. We just came back from a trip where I went out to go visit my family in Iowa, where I grew up. And every time you go on a trip, what are the first two things that have to be defined? Where are you starting the trip from, and where are you going? Because the map, if you go on, Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever service you use, and you want to get directions on how to drive from point A to point B, the very first things that the map software is going to ask you for, or the app is going to ask you for, is start, end. Where are you starting and where are you ending? And once they know that, it will calculate the best route for you to get to your destination. But it doesn't work until you know the beginning and the end. The same thing is true for your signature program. You won't be able to build a signature program until you first define the beginning and the end points. You need to define, this is where they start, this is where they are today, and this is where they want to be. And once you have that in place, once you have those pieces in place, then you go back, okay, this is where they are today. Now, if I was working with them, what would be the first thing I would have them do? Okay, well, they're here. And if they want to start a business, but they really have no idea what they're doing, we first need to define who they want to help. Who are people that you want to help? And you'd be saying, okay, so step one in my program is defining who your ideal customer is. Who are the people that you want to help? Who are the people you want to serve? Who are the people that you want to impact and make a difference in their lives? And let's get that clear. And as a part of that, we're defining who these people are, what their life situation is, what the problem is, and we're going to define what they want. So we're defining the person at the beginning. And then we're going to define step two. Okay, now that we know who we're going to help, how are we going to help them? What is the thing that we're going to give them? So what's the product or service that they need to get to the solution? Okay, so then step two would be to define that. For you and your process, you need to do a similar exercise. You need to sit down and you need to say, okay, this is where my ideal prospect is today, my target customer. This is where they're starting today. The first thing I would have them do is this. That's the first step I would have them do. because I know where they are and I know where I want them to end. We all know where they want to be, where the goal is, where they want to go. So the first step in that direction is this. And the same thing, you think about it again. As I said, I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I just went back to Iowa. And if that's my end destination, my first step is not going to be to drive east to Pittsburgh because I need to go west. Your first step is going to be defined by the end goal. You know that if this is where I am and that's where I want to be, the first step needs to be pointed in the direction of the end goal. I need to start heading west. I need to start heading west towards Iowa. That's how it's going to get me to the destination. Same thing is true for whatever it is that you're doing. You need to define your end goal. And then once you define that, what's the first step to the end goal? Once you do that, what's the second step? What's the third step? And some people say, well, how many steps should I need? However many steps it takes to get to your destination. There is no set amount. The number of steps is going to be largely dependent on how long and difficult the journey is. Because let's be honest, if you're going 15 minutes away to the grocery store, you don't need a lot of steps. You just need a few. And you're there and you're at the grocery store. Boom, here you are. There you go. Everything's where you need it to be. And you're done. And it's all good. And if you're going from one end of the country, like New York to California, that's a much longer trip. And you're going to need a lot more steps. There's going to be a lot more steps in the process to get you from point A to point B because there's a lot more to the journey. Same thing in working with your clients. There is no set amount of steps that you should or should not have in your program. It depends on how big the problem is and how complex the problem is. The more complex, the more steps it's going to be. Put in the number of steps that it needs to have to get to the solution. That's it. Don't worry about the numbers. Just go with the number of steps that it makes sense. Break them down so that each step is manageable. Each step is clear. Each step is achievable. Don't make one step so mammoth and big that it takes an eternity to get through and they're exhausted by the time they get through it. No, break them up into manageable, achievable steps until they get to the end goal, until they get to the destination that they're trying to get to. So when you do that, now you got a program. Now you got a program. If it's a coaching program, if it's a course, if it's how you deliver your speeches, your keynote speech, however that may be, you have something that you can deliver. You have something that you can build the foundation of your business on. Now it's just about how are you packaging it? How are you pricing it? And how are you putting all those things together so that it's affordable for your audience. It makes sense for your audience. It's the value of what you're offering is greater than the cost, because ultimately that is how all buying decisions are made. Is we look at something and say, okay, the value of this is $10,000 and the cost is $5,000. This is a great deal. I'll do it. I used to use this example all the time when I would do speaking engagements. I would say, okay, here I have a pen. I have this pen here in my hand, and I will sell you this pen for $1,000. And most people would look at me and say, not a chance, David. I'm not giving you $1,000 for a pen. It's a nice pen, but it's not $1,000. I wouldn't give that to you. And all of a sudden, everybody's wallet is tight, right? Nobody's going to open up their wallet to give me $1,000. Okay, fair enough. I don't make any sales with that. But what if what if I offered you a brand new Lexus for $1,000? Suddenly everyone in the room has $1,000 that they're willing to spend. The problem was never the price. The problem was the value comparison. They would view a brand new Lexus for $1,000 as the steal of a lifetime. So they would everybody, even if they didn't have $1,000, they would find a way to get $1,000 because they know that the value of the car is exponentially higher than that. The value of the pen on the other side is not, even though it's a nice pen. It's a mismatch. So the pricing of your product, you need to take two things into consideration. One is this a tremendous value? Stop worrying about whether or not people can afford it. Stop worrying about whether or not it's cheap enough. if people can put it in their budget. That should not be the question. The question is the value significant? Is the price at a level where the value is still significantly higher, where the person who buys it feels like I'm getting a steal? I am getting an absolute steal of a lifetime doing this, because this is amazing. This is an incredibly good deal, and I want to be able to do this. This is everything I need, and I'm going to get so much help and so much service and so much benefit from this compared to the little bit of money that I'm putting into it. This is incredible. The other side of the equation is the price that you pick sustainable? Can you make this work with that price point? The amount of work that you're doing, the amount of things that you're putting into the program, the amount of support that you have to provide, the amount of things that you have to put into it, can you be successful? Can you be profitable? Can you make good money and support the business and take care of yourself and be able to grow the business and have excess cash flow to be able to support all those things at that price point? Those are two things that you have to do. You have to create that mindset of there. Like, on the one hand, I want to make this an amazing value for my customers. On the other hand, I need to make sure that I make enough money that this is sustainable, that I'm going to be profitable, that I've got enough cash flow, that this makes sense for the volume of work that I'm putting out is rewarded adequately. It's rewarded at a level that it makes sense. And when you have those two, like, yeah, I think this would take care of me. This would be good if I could just get enough clients at this level. And at a number of clients, I could still manage it pretty well. And it would be great. And I would be in a good position. And yet I know I'm going to be adequately compensated. And your customers are feeling like, yeah, this would be an amazing value at this price. I'm getting a great deal. I'm more than happy to pay that price because of all the value that I'm getting. Now you've kind of found that sweet spot. Now you've kind of found the point where the price from their end and the price from your end works for both. They're getting amazing help. They're getting amazing value. They're feeling like this is incredible. And you're saying, yes, I can make a good living off of it this way. I can get what I need. This is exactly what I'm going for. This is going to sustain me. This is going to allow me to scale and grow the business and allow me to do the things that, I need and I want to be able to do. So balance both of those things. And then if you want, from there, you can then even create a couple variations of your signature offer. You can have the main one. Maybe that's your coaching program. And then you can have a starter or a light option, which could just be the course. Maybe you just have a course that goes through a lot of those things, but you aren't doing the coaching. And people can buy just into the course for a lower fee, but you also don't have to spend time coaching them. And then maybe you have a premium offer where you have a mastermind where they can get even more one-on-one type help from you, but it's at a higher price. And so you can build off of now the core offer. You can build additional offers. You can build the introductory level offer, and you can build the premium level offer off of the core. But everything gets built off of that core offer. Everything goes from there. It starts from there and gets built from there. So this is how you build a real business, because once you have that core offer, once you have that signature offer running and in place and successful, everything else can just be built around it. And you get incremental sales. You get cross sales. People are like, oh, this is incredible. I also want to get your course. I also want to get your ebook. I also want to get this and that. Now you're just making additional sales because people are now familiar with your core offer, your signature offer. So recapping all of what we went over today, define the transformation. Know and understand where are you taking people from A to B, to understanding what is the transformation that you're bringing to them. From there, build a clear framework. Okay, this is the transformation I'm going to take you on, and here's the framework for how we're going to get there. We know that step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, till we get to our destination, and then price your offer in a way that makes sense for your client and sustains you as the business owner. You do that, you will be on your way to success. So if you'd like to talk about this further, you'd like to learn more about how we can help you do this, check out designlaunchgrow.com, fill out an application, and we would love to have a conversation with you. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and we will talk to you again very soon.